Hey everyone, before we start the show, I just want to get some plugs out of the way. If you enjoy this podcast and you're into wrestling, check out the Nerds and Marks podcast or Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling. If you're not getting your fill on movie and entertainment discussion, then check out the Entertainment Buffet podcast. If you want to dive into the world of video games, I highly recommend the Darkcast by my friends over at darkstation.com. Listen to them cover important topics and interview men and women from all over the industry. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Hello everyone and welcome to today's Shelved mini episode. So last Friday, I know we hit a little speed bump with a sick guest, but my wife was kind enough to step in and we talked about our top 10 favorite movies. And we had a lot of fun doing that. I've been wanting to incorporate some list stuff onto the show for these mini episodes. But, being that we didn't have a guest for Friday, we did it as one of our main episodes, and that was a lot of fun. But this week, we will have the Halloween 3D script that we were supposed to have last Friday on this Friday's show. So again, if you read that script or if you're still interested in that script, that's what we're going to be talking about this weekend, which is Halloween 3D, what would have been the third in the line of Rob Zombie Halloween movies. But today on the mini episode, we actually have another fun little activity, but discussion, which is our top 10 television shows. My wife had so much fun talking about our movies that we decided to talk about our top 10 television shows because she is way more of a television person. I love TV just as much as the next guy, but I definitely flock towards movies. But we wanted to talk about TV for a little bit. And I don't do a lot of TV talk on the podcast, but it's always welcome. We have a lot of really fun TV shows we like talking about. So she sat down with me and we discussed our top 10 television shows. It's a really fun discussion. I really think you guys are going to like it. We definitely have very different lists when it comes. And we like a lot of the same shows. I'm surprised we didn't have more items on each other's lists. I think we only had one matching show. And it was one we watched together, so that makes a lot of sense. But so that's what we're going to be talking about in today's mini episode. This weekend is going to be Halloween 3D. And you can find that script on our Tumblr, shelvedfilmpodcast.tumblr.com. And of course, you can follow the show on Twitter at Shelved Podcast, and you can email the show at shelvedfilmpodcast@gmail.com. We also have an Instagram now. We actually had it last week, but I forgot to announce it on the show. But that is also Shelved Podcast on Instagram, so you can follow it on there. We don't have a lot, but I try to post the previews to the episodes and things like that. And this weekend, as in the last one that just happened, I was at C2E2 and I was kind of a little active on the Instagram there, and I wanted to be a lot more active. I brought my podcasting equipment and I was going to try to get some people in line and talk to some people to try to pick up some sound bits, and that was just a terrible idea. It was so packed and there was no maneuvering around. I guess this year was the biggest attended ever, and it really showed. I was only there on Saturday, but it was so full. Trying to maneuver around that place was insane. But the main reason I went there was to get my Stan Lee autograph, which I got. It was $100 for the autograph, but it's his last time going to be there. Stan Lee's a legend, so I got my Spider-Man issue number 1 from 2014, I believe it was, from that Marvel run, signed by Stan Lee, and it's awesome. It's now one of my prized possessions. And I also went around to Artist Alley and got a lot of signatures from a lot of guys. I got the co-creator of Deadpool, Rob Liefeld, and I got the other co-creator last year, Fabian. So now I got those on the same book, and that's an awesome one to have. Tim Seeley was doing Nightwing, and he also did a series that I really love called Revival. And they made an announcement there about Revival that I have not looked up yet what it is. I'm hoping... There was rumors that it was going to be a TV show, so I'm hoping that's what they're doing. And he told me when I told him, oh, this is one of my favorite series. And Revival is a fantastic comic book series that just ended. I think they have 7 trade paperbacks now, and I highly recommend it. It's super dark, really compelling mystery of what's going on in this town. And the general kind of description of it is basically a town in Colorado, like a nowhere town, one day, everyone who died within like a 24-hour period just came back to life, and they are now invincible, and they're called revivers. And the town has been quarantined, and they're trying to figure out like what happened. And it's really interesting, and I highly recommend the series. But yeah, I want to look into that announcement. I really hope it's a TV show. That when he was talking to me, he specifically said live action announcement. So that's what I'm assuming. Maybe it's a web series, because he handed me like a card that on the back had what looked like a live action thing, and the production quality of the camera used didn't look like super high quality. So it might be a web series thing, because they probably don't have a TV budget. But whatever it is, I'm gonna watch it. I don't care. It's a really great series, and I'll check out anything that guy does with that name on it. But yeah, C2E2 is a lot of fun. I met a couple people, met some friends. I was definitely spreading the word of the podcast, so hopefully we get some listeners from there. I sat in line and talked to this guy. I didn't get his name, but when I was waiting for Rob Liefeld, he was a super great guy. He was one of the workers there. I was the first in line, so we were just talking, and then I came by and gave him a card to my podcast. So if you're listening, it was really nice talking to you. I had a great time. It was a nice way to spend time sitting in line. But yeah, C2E2, it's a really fun show. I highly recommend it. It just seems to get better every year. The lineup of guests was pretty insane. They had like 3 or 4 Power Rangers there. They had Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, the original Black Ranger, the original Blue Ranger, and last year they had the original Red, and then the surviving Yellow Ranger from Mighty Morphin. And yeah, basically if you went there within the last 2 years, you could get all the original Power Rangers. So that's really awesome. Their lines were insane. Like the whole time, they must have had at least like 6,000 people go through the Green Rangers line on Friday. It was so crazy. I unfortunately did not get the chance, but a buddy of mine who was a guest on the show for the Power Rangers episode, Berto, he met Jason David Frank backstage. He got a picture with him, so that was really cool. And I got a Star Wars book signed by one of the best Star Wars writers, Timothy Zahn, who created the character of Admiral Thrawn and did the Thrawn trilogy, which is the best series of Star Wars books ever written. I don't really care what anybody says. Heir to the Empire is the first one. That's the one I got signed. It's a fantastic trilogy. It's what a lot of fans considered, if they ever did a 7, 8, and 9, what it would be. And obviously now that they are doing it, that's not what we got. But it's just a fantastic trilogy. I highly recommend it. And now I got it signed, and that's really special to me. But that's kind of all I got about C2E2. It was a really fun show. If you're in the Chicago area and you've never gone, I highly recommend it. It's a fun convention. One of the only ones I've really been to. I've never been a big convention guy, but it's the one I kind of dip my toes in, because we usually get to work it every year with CM Punk. And my company worked it again this year, but I chose not to. I just wanted to attend as a guest, and I stood in line for 2 hours to meet Stan Lee, which was awesome. But that's all I got for C2E2. Again, we're going to be talking about Halloween 3D on Friday. And the rest of this podcast is going to be dedicated to me and my wife, Amanda, talking about our top 10 television shows. All right. Wow. Are you ready to talk about your top 10 television shows?
Yeah, I'm so excited because I'm way more into TV than I am movies.
Do you have yours in any specific order, or is it just kind of your number one is your number one and everything else is what it is?
I'm going to say my top 5 are in order, but the rest are kind of just thrown on there.
Okay. And mine are in like a loose kind of order, but my top 5 are pretty locked in. So I guess it's the same as what you said. All right, so do you want me to start again?
Yes, please.
Okay, and I'm curious of any of these. Well, I know a lot of these you've never seen, but some of these, I wonder how much have you seen? Because my number 10 is The Twilight Zone.
I've never seen
it.
And
you've never seen an episode
of
The Twilight Zone?
My dad's talked about it, so I kind of...
I love old black and white stuff, and sometimes you're just totally in the mood for it. And The Twilight Zone is arguably one of the best written television shows ever made. I mean, it's an anthology horror show, but a lot of it's like It's so hard to explain, but it's always like somebody's misfortune causes their downfall type situation, or like a whole thing is like a guy wants, like the first episode I believe is the guy, he wants to read all the time and people are always bugging him, and then he wakes up and it's the apocalypse and he's like, finally I have all the time to read, and then he breaks his reading glasses type situation, and it's like, no, it's not fair, I had all the time. And one of my favorite episodes is like an old woman who is like managed to avoid the Grim Reaper her entire life, so has lived like way past her time, is just shut in from her home, and like a police officer gets shot outside her door, and he's like, please help me in, I'm dying, like I need your help. And she's like, no, you're the Grim Reaper trying to trick me.
Oh no.
And she's like, lady, like I'm gonna die out here and it's your fault. And she's like, no, I can't let you in, you're just trying to trick me. And then she eventually lets him in, and then turns out, oh, it actually was the Grim Reaper. And it's a really amazing episode, and just a lot of the shows are like that.
Yeah, actually does sound interesting.
It's such a good show. It's got so many classic episodes, like the thing, like, hey, there's a monster on the wing of the plane. That's a famous one with the gremlin that's been parodied and everything. But it's just got so many episodes. I believe like 90% of the show was written by one guy, which is the guy, Rod Serling, who... Don't look at my list.
No, I'm saying, so you're starting from the bottom?
Yeah, I'm starting from my number 10.
Okay.
But yeah, The Twilight Zone, it's on Netflix too. So if you want to watch any Twilight Zone, we have access.
I think I want to watch the one you just explained.
Yeah, I'll have to find it. I don't know what episode it is, but I bet I can find it. But that's one of my favorite episodes. It's really great.
Sounds good.
And I know we're going to talk about favorite characters, but Twilight Zone doesn't really have characters because it's different every episode.
Oh, okay.
So I guess Rod Serling, the host, he's like, you're now entering as the door or whatever. It's that classic Twilight Zone intro. So what's your number 10?
Orange is the New Black.
Really? So we tried watching this.
I'm hooked. I love it so much.
I just couldn't. I think we watched the first 4 episodes, and you were like really into it,
and you weren't, so I continued on.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it's okay, but I assumed we were gonna watch it together, and then I came home and you like already finished the first
I assumed
season.
we weren't watching it together, so I continued on.
Yeah.
Oh, and it keeps getting better. It's so good.
Yeah,
I
heard
so much.
I heard a lot of people didn't like the most recent season. Did you like it?
The most recent, not so much.
Yeah.
But the first couple.
I've heard a lot of people
So
just
good.
say the main character, is just starting to get terrible.
You kind of, you begin to hate her
Yeah.
after a while. And I can't remember. Gosh, what was the other girl's name? I can't remember.
The girl from That 70s Show?
Yeah. She's
Donna. Yeah, I don't remember her name.
I cannot remember her name. It's coming back soon, isn't it?
It's probably is, yeah.
Yeah. So good. I really liked Ruby Rose's character. She was good.
Yeah. She's kind of all over the place now.
Yeah.
Like, she was on that show, and then she just kind of started popping up in a bunch of movies. Like,
Yeah.
mostly in, like, minor side character roles, but she's in the new John Wick movie, which I fucking want to see
she
so
is?
bad. Yeah, she plays, like, an assassin. And she's, like, deaf, so she's like, signing to him, which is
Yeah.
just kind of a cool thing.
What I like, I guess, the most about the show is that you get, like, with each, like, episode, you get like a backstory of like every single person.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just going to be like a first season thing where you kind of get to know everyone, but no, there's just obviously there's so much depth to every single person just in general.
Yeah.
So you get that with every character, and it's so good.
There were
I love it so
definitely some
much.
interesting characters on the show. I told you, I think it was last night, I said, if the entire show revolved around like the shop teacher guy, I would be totally into it because he was great.
Yeah.
And I think he's played by like a professional comedian. I can't remember.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the other girl, she's kind of like her love interest, I guess. She's
The one
like
that
my
was
favorite
Donna from That
character.
70s Show.
Yeah. She'd probably be my favorite character, but I also like Red. She's kind of like
Which one was
the
that? The
matriarch of the show.
is she like the cook or whatever?
Yeah, she works in the kitchen with the Latinas, and it's very.
She was like a mob
race-oriented.
wife, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I remember her. Yeah, she was like a really intense character.
Yeah. They really play on stereotypes.
Alex was her name.
Alex. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say Angela, but
Yeah, Laura Prepon is her real
Prepon.
name. Prepon.
yeah.
However you say it. Yeah, Alex was her name.
Yeah. She's great. And
Yeah, I really like her as an actress. So whenever she pops up and stuff, I usually really enjoy her.
Yeah, it plays like race plays a huge role in it. It's like they all have their different groups and everything.
Yeah. And then there's some of the guards are some pretty interesting characters.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I could go on and on about the show. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that it's a Netflix original because the episodes are really long.
Yeah.
And then the finale episodes are really, really long.
Yeah.
So
It is
you may
kinda
not
nice
get
that
as many
Netflix-
episodes per season, but each episode seems to take.
It
a
is
really
nice
long
when,
time.
like, generally Netflix shows, it's like, 45 minutes to, like, a little under an hour. But sometimes it's like, hey, fuck it. Go ahead and make a longer
Yeah.
episode. That is one thing I really like about Netflix.
Yeah. And also because it's Netflix, they can say whatever they want. They can show whatever they want.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
They don't really shy away from anything. I mean, the last episode of the last episode, just in general right now, there was a big thing with guns. So
Yeah.
that was interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I just couldn't get into it. Maybe if I, like,
I love it.
really tried, I would end up enjoying it. But yeah, those first 4 episodes just didn't really grab me.
I don't know how it's so
I don't
good.
know.
Oh, I love it.
It was good to see Jason Biggs getting work, though. I know he's not in it anymore, but
Yeah, he's not my favorite
yeah.
character by
Yeah.
any means.
All right. Well, is that all you got for Orange is the New Black?
I mean, I can go on and on for it, but yeah, I really
right.
enjoy the show.
Well, why don't we move on to number 9, which mine is Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which is one of the old 2 cartoons on my list. Obviously Star Wars for me, huge thing. But the clone, like, everybody, all the talk you hear about the prequels, and I'm sure you've heard me talk about this before, is everybody just says that the prequels suck. That they, George Lucas ruined them. He killed the franchise and blah, blah, blah. And this series takes place in between the second and third movie. And the third one is the one prequel movie that everybody kind of says is actually okay. I love everything Star Wars. I will say the first one is kind of rough. But the Clone Wars show is actually better than, like, the first 2 prequel movies in a lot of ways. And for a kid show, it's not afraid to get dark. Like, there's some really dark fucking episodes of that show. And they give you so much more time with some of these characters. Some of the characters are better brought out on the show than they were in the movies even. And it's one of those things where Disney came in after they bought Star Wars. They kind of just shut it down. So I think there was originally going to be 7 seasons. And they were in production on the 6th season, and Disney said no, like, the show's done, and they're gonna do their own show, which is pretty much what they do every time they buy anything. They did it with Spider-Man as well. But they ended up putting out the 6th season on Netflix because, like, there was already so much of it done. It would be a waste not to put it out. And they've been talking about, like, possibly doing something with the last episode because they had the 7th season written. They just didn't start CGI or anything on it. They've been talking about, like, hey, maybe we'll cut it together into, like, a couple movies and put them out in theaters. And there's still no word on what they're going to do with them. And this is like 3 or 4 years ago at this point. But I guess they did just show either, like, some footage or, like, talk about some stuff at Star Wars Celebration recently. But it was such a good show. They really did the characters really well. And they brought back one of the most popular Star Wars characters, and he's my favorite character on the show, which was Darth Maul, who's one of the most badass villains they've ever created in that series, and they killed him off in the first movie. And this show brings him back in a really interesting way and just gives you more to do with that character. So cool. I know you know nothing about the Star Wars prequels, but we'll cover Star Wars eventually. But yeah, so what's your number 9?
Breaking Bad.
Really, that low?
Yeah.
That is such an amazing show.
Oh my gosh, on the edge of my seat the entire. Well, maybe like the last season was a little.
I do think, like, I think the show went on 1 season too long,
Yeah.
but it couldn't end how well season 4 ended. Like, because it literally ends with them getting away with everything and them walking away, and they do not deserve that. Like, they are the we get into this argument all the time, but they are the bad guys of the show.
No.
Yeah,
No.
Walt is a bad guy.
I don't know. I could just feel for him.
I mean, I understand. Here's the thing: he's a bad guy, but
He
he
had good intentions.
He did have good intentions, but it spiraled out of control. And he says in the last episode that when he's talking to Skylar, she says, "Don't say you did it for us." And he's like, "You're right. I didn't. I did it for me because I liked it."
No, he did it for them.
He did. He started doing it for them, but then he grew to like it. He loved the power and he loved the control he had over people.
Whatever, it's fine. He was dying anyway. So
Yeah. The speech he gives in one episode where she's all afraid, like, after she finds out and she's all afraid of people coming and, like, getting them. And he's like, nobody's going to knock on our door. I am the one who knocks. Like, it's such an intense fucking speech. And I love that moment so much.
That show is amazing.
Literally every episode is great.
So good.
So recently somebody put up online, and I downloaded this, so I think we should watch it. Somebody cut the entire series and edited it together into a 2-hour movie.
Really?
So it's like the whole story in 2 hours.
Oh, interesting.
And I hear it's great. I haven't watched it yet, but I think that'd be fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I've
get into
always
that, yeah.
I've always loved that idea of somebody doing that, and Breaking Bad's the perfect show to do it with because it's so cinematic anyway. But I have it. We should watch that sometime.
Yeah, I think one of the things I liked about that show is that it was so smart.
Yeah, it is.
I really like when a show
It's one of the best
just
written
hand
shows.
you every little thing. Like you have to think a little bit, and I really enjoy.
And there's some really good swerves in there.
Yes.
And just there's so many great dramatic moments.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where you think it's gonna go one way, and then I mean, obviously a lot of shows are like that, but this show there was so many times where I totally thought it was going one way, and then it
Like
just
when the
went,
guy shoots the kid after the train robbery.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or when Jesse has to shoot that scientist guy so they don't get caught.
Yeah.
Or so Gus can't kill them, basically. And just Gus in general, like everything about him.
Yes.
Yeah, Breaking Bad is.
Oh my gosh, we should rewatch it. It was so.
I've
good.
actually. So Jake was watching it. A guy I work with was watching it for the first time, and he put it on at work, and everybody at work's already seen it. So we're just
Right.
kind of. So I watched the like half of the 4th season and half of the 5th season again at work, and it just like after we finished Breaking Bad because we marathoned it, I was like, I am so need a break from this show. Like it was getting to the point where I was just like a little tired of it, but like watching those
Because
episodes
it's a
again,
dark show. It's
Yeah.
not something that
You need a break.
like a sitcom where like you can watch it and it's
And I-
fairly happy. This is a pretty dark show.
I think that's what led us to watching that Melissa and Joey show.
Yes.
Is we needed something a little lighthearted after watching Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching those episodes at work again did make me want to go back and rewatch the show. I think it's like
My dad's rewatching it right now.
Yeah.
Too, so.
For me, it's like skip the first season if you've already seen it because the first season's really slow and it really picks up on the second season. Maybe watch like the finale of
I
season
think the
1.
second season might be my favorite.
I think season 3 was my favorite. I can't remember. It all kind of runs together for me now, but I remember season 3 being really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
But yeah, that show is so fucking great.
Walt's a good guy in my head.
Walt is not a good guy.
guy
He
in my
is
head.
a terrible human being. He manipulates Jesse.
No,
I love Jesse.
he's an idiot.
He is an idiot, but he's a lovable idiot.
I guess.
And every time he says "bitch," it's just so funny.
Yes.
Breaking Bad. It's one of the best
I'll
shows on
never
television.
forget the bathtub scene.
Oh, from the first
Oh my
season when they
gosh.
melt the guy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so
It was
gross.
So intense.
I loved that episode where they have the guy tied up in the basement and Walt
I'm
is,
telling you, this show. Yeah.
and then he has to kill him.
Yes.
Yeah, that show is.
And he did not. Oh my gosh.
No.
With everything in him, he did not want to.
No, it was so great. One of the best shows on television, hands down.
Yes.
All right, so that was your number 9.
Yeah.
All right, my number 8 is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I know nothing about that show.
I really need you to watch this show with
I know
me.
nothing about it.
It is one of the funniest and one of the smartest shows I've ever seen. It's basically, you don't know anything?
Nothing.
So Charlie Day from Horrible Bosses,
Okay.
he's in it. He's one of the main characters. And then you probably haven't seen any of the other people in anything, but basically it's about a group of people who run a bar in Philadelphia, and they're all the biggest assholes who think they're the smartest people in the room at all times.
Okay.
And it's basically just every episode is a different scheme of theirs or a different situation that they get in, and it's just so fucking funny. Like, the thing is, if we were to watch it, I feel like you have to watch the first season because that's when you get to know the characters. But the first season is so different from the rest of the show that I'd be like, well, we just have to get through the first season.
I feel like that's like with a lot of shows.
Yeah. And then, so my strategy would be maybe watch the first couple episodes of the first season, watch the first couple episodes of the second season, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna show you some random episodes because you just need to see how fucking funny and crazy the show gets. And then we can start it from the beginning and like work our way through. Because I feel like here we'll introduce the characters. Second season is where they introduced Danny DeVito, which I thought was going to ruin the show, and it made it the best show on television. And then like it just gets better, and it's been going for I think 10 years now. And for the last few years,
Oh my gosh, is it still going?
it's still going.
Oh.
Like I think they're on like season 11 or 12 now.
Holy cow.
And it's like they've never won an Emmy, even though it's one, like everyone pretty much agrees it's
never
one.
won?
No, they've never even been nominated. And they actually did an episode kind of poking fun at it, where they're just like, I can't remember what they're making fun of. I think it's like an award for like bars in Philadelphia or something.
Okay.
And they're just like, yeah, we don't care. We would never go. Like, it'd be an honor to be nominated, but whatever. But we don't need to go. And like, literally, I heard Charlie Day say the same thing in an interview, and that's basically how they feel about it. It's like, yeah, of
Okay.
course we would go, but it's like we don't really care. But it is like, come on, really? They've never been nominated
That's insane.
I've never met a person who doesn't like that show. You just haven't seen it yet. That's why you don't like it.
But yeah, I'm not. It's not that I don't like it. I've never
Well, no,
seen
yeah.
it or I've heard of it, but I've
Yeah,
never.
it's just so fucking funny, and I could sit there and marathon it, but I could definitely see it hard to marathon that show for some people because after a while you're just like, okay, I'm watching these people be an asshole all the time, and it gets a little tiring.
Yeah.
But it has some of the best side characters, like this guy Cricket, who starts off as a priest, and then he quits the priesthood to be with the girl in the show, but she actually doesn't like him. She was just using him. And then he becomes homeless. He becomes homeless. Then he gets his neck sliced open because they're having a wrestling match and somebody hits him with his garbage can.
Bad
And then he
luck,
gets his
jeez.
face burned off because
Oh
they
my
lock him in a
gosh.
burning apartment. But it sounds terrible, but the way they play it off is the funniest thing in the world. And they have a lot of great guest stars on the show. I really want you to watch this show because honestly, this is something you could watch when I'm not around because I've seen it all. Like I'm all caught up to what's on Netflix. The current season that's not on Netflix yet, I hear is like their best yet, and I haven't seen it yet.
Of course, it's not on Netflix.
No, I mean it'll come out soon, but it's amazing that the show's been going for like 10 years, and it sounds like they've kind of been wanting to wrap it up for a few years now, but they keep getting offered more seasons and more money. So like, yeah, I guess we'll keep doing it, but it doesn't drag. It keeps getting better, and it's impressive.
And that's impressive.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so fucking funny.
Because there's a lot of shows where you're like, okay, you guys are done.
Yeah.
Let's
And
wrap it up.
the show, honestly, I could watch it forever. And I think the rest of the world can, and that's why it keeps going. But I would love to watch this show with you. All right, so I think that's all I got for It's Always Sunny. So we are on you're number 8.
Yeah. Better Call Saul.
Which is
Which
the only
is a
reason
bridge
I
from
don't
Breaking
have
Bad.
it on my list is because the show is still so early, and I know there's so much more to come. But we talk all the time. I think I like Better Call Saul more than Breaking Bad.
Exactly, and that's why I have them here in a different order. But
Yeah,
yeah, I like it. I think I like it more than Breaking Bad,
yeah, because
which is incredible. I never thought I would say that because I almost didn't even watch the show. I didn't think
Yeah.
that I would.
but you were a
ever
big fan of
measure up.
Saul in the
Yeah.
Breaking Bad.
No, but I watched the show because I like him.
Yeah. Oh, Kim
I-
Wexler. Yeah.
yeah.
Who her name's what? Rhea Seahorn, I think.
Yeah.
Which we saw her in Whitney, which was a show we really liked.
Exactly. I saw her and I was like, oh my gosh, she's back again in my life.
Yeah, for us that was one of those things where we really liked Whitney. It got canceled after 2 seasons, and once we saw her in the show, we're like,
Like,
oh,
we
it's
still
like
watch that show.
yeah, that's one we throw on every now and then.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious.
Which it's kind of your average sitcom, but it's
We're
got
just
some
so
really
much
funny
like the main
people.
characters.
Yeah, we really
like
relate
that's
to that
us
show.
on TV.
Yeah, we relate to that show in such a weird way.
So many ways.
But no, Breaking Bad for Bob Odenkirk, who plays Saul Goodman,
Okay.
is a fantastic
He's great.
comedian, and he's such an amazing actor.
He is.
So that character is so perfect for him to play. He's like one of those characters he was born to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been following his career for years. So seeing him turn up in Breaking Bad and then Better Call Saul, it's like he was already like a huge star, but it's just so good to see him become so big in something that's so mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And he's nailing it. And the show is so great.
The thing I love is that he keeps fucking up, but you keep rooting for him.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause you just love him.
And you know where he ends
Yeah, I
up.
love him.
Yeah.
And then I love Kim.
Yeah, and she's really
She's my
great.
girl.
And it's like one of those things like, oh, where is she in Breaking Bad? Like, what happens to her, you know?
Right.
And like, so I guess we haven't started watching season 3 yet, but I guess it's been in all the trailers that they bring Gus in during this season.
Yeah, and the one guy.
Tuco. He was
Yes.
he was in the first season. And maybe a little bit of the second season.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the way they kind of pepper in the characters. And Mike
Mm-hmm.
obviously is super great as well.
I love the way it's filmed, too. I know
Yeah.
I keep saying that, but just the way something's filmed can draw you in just as
Yeah.
much as the storyline and the characters.
The creator of that show, whose name I'm blanking on at the moment, but he's a genius, and he's created some of the best television, and I'm pretty sure he directed the pilot for both shows, and everything's pretty much based off his direction, you know. It's great. They make it look so good, and being in New Mexico, it's they make a desert look amazing.
Yeah. I actually was like, I kind of want to go there.
Yeah, and I bet that show has picked up tourism for New Mexico.
I'm sure. Show's huge.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that show. I can't wait because we're the type we wait till a season is finished before we watch it. So right now,
I have to marathon it.
Yeah, Better Call Saul's probably had like 3 episodes now, and we haven't watched a single one yet. So we are dying to get into it.
Oh my gosh, I love that show.
Yeah, that's one of those shows I wish was already over, and we already had like 5 or 6 seasons, and we could just marathon the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great.
What's your next one?
My number 7 is the last cartoon on my list, and it is Batman the Animated Series. Obviously, I'm a huge Batman fan. This show came out in 1990 or 1991, maybe a little later, and maybe as late as like 95. But it was so revolutionary for cartoons in particular. For one, like, it's a cartoon, but it's not a kid's show. It was very much meant for Batman fans. Like, you can watch it today, and I own the whole series on DVD, and they put out a movie in theaters. It was widely popular. And the voice actors, so Kevin Conroy voices Batman, and Mark Hamill, who plays Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, voices the Joker. And like, for people my age growing up, that's our Batman and Joker. When I read Batman comics, Kevin Conroy's voice is the voice I hear when I read Batman, and Mark Hamill's voice is the voice I hear when I read the Joker.
Right.
And Mark Hamill retired from the Joker like this year, or like last year, I guess. And it's a big deal. And he's so popular for being the voice on that show, even though he was in one of the biggest movies of all time, Star Wars. But like, they just did it justice, and they brought in new animation techniques that had never been seen before. And the guy who created the show also created shows like Animaniacs and Tiny Toon Adventures.
Animaniacs.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He's I want to say it's Paul Dini is his name. He's amazing. He's a revolutionary in animation. And the show holds up after all these years. And it went on for like 4 seasons. And then they made a Justice League show that was inspired by it. They made a Superman show that was inspired by it. Pretty much every animated DC property that's come out is launched off of Batman the Animated Series. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Conroy still voices Batman to this day in a lot of properties. But it's just so great. I love just throwing it on, just watching some episodes. And they do Batman Justice in an animated form, and it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
So what's your number 7?
Reba.
Reba, really?
I
like
love
Reba.
her as a singer. I love her as a person, and her show is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And relatable, and I just love it.
Yeah, we're big sitcom nuts. Like,
Yeah.
we love to just sit down and throw on sitcoms, and Reba's really fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good word. It's fun and it's funny and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like with
and
any
obviously
sitcom,
there's serious parts too, and it's great.
with any sitcom, like, it's nothing you haven't seen before. It's the same setup. You know, you got your laugh track, and but like, Reba's got such good characters. It's got a lot of funny jokes. She's a fucking firecracker.
She's genuinely funny. Yeah, exactly. So she's funny just in like as her own person, but yeah, and I don't know. Like, her kids are funny, and it's just...
And Van. I love Van.
Oh, my God.
And that actor, he's on Shameless. He's really fucking great on that, too.
Probably my favorite character other than her on the show.
Yeah, I like Van.
He was great.
And what's her daughter's name?
Cheyenne.
Cheyenne, yeah.
Kira.
I like Van and Cheyenne together.
Yes.
They're always really fun, because they're both stupid.
Yeah, because she was the cheerleader. He was the football player. And,
yeah.
Oh my God, they had she had a baby, or they had a baby. And
it's a really fun show.
Yeah.
I like Reba.
It's great.
So is that my number 6 then? My number 6 is Jessica Jones.
Love that show.
I'm trying to think. There's Jessica Jones, Daredevil has 2 seasons. There's Luke Cage and Iron Fist. There are 5 Marvel TV shows on Netflix so far. Jessica Jones is by far my favorite.
I almost didn't even watch that show.
You
mentioned it to me, and I was hooked after. Like,
it was
10
one of those.
minutes.
It was one of those things where I was like, "Come on, just watch the first." I don't know why. I just knew you would like this show.
And that's what you said, and I was like, "Okay, I'll watch it."
Yeah, superhero stuff is not for you. We tried watching Arrow, and you couldn't get into it.
No.
I feel like maybe if you just sat down and watched the first episode of Arrow by yourself, maybe it would draw you in a little more. But
she's just such a strong, badass character to begin with. And then the storyline was so good.
And I think it was really elevated by the villain,
yes,
Kilgrave.
So good.
David Tennant is the actor. He is phenomenal.
He's great. Yes.
And I had seen David Tennant in some... He was Doctor Who for a number of years. He was in the Harry Potter movies, because every major British actor is in the Harry Potter movies. I think he was only a minor character, though. And like I'd seen David Tennant around, but I have never like dived into his acting. And Jessica Jones, it's like I don't know what they're gonna do for season 2 because I think
How can you live up to that?
Yeah,
That was so good.
Marvel always gets hit for none of their movies have compelling villains. Like there's only one memorable villain out of like the 20 movies they've done, and he's been in 4 movies. And this TV show had a more compelling villain than any of the Marvel
He
movies.
legitimately freaked me out.
Yeah, but he was also like a tragic character. Like
Yeah.
he was the way he was because of all this abuse he went through, but at the same time, you don't give a shit because he's just so
Because of
goddamn
what he's
evil.
done, yeah.
And just his power is insane, and the way they use it in the show is so
His
good.
powers were so interesting.
Yeah, and just
So
like the way he would like, he was kind of funny in a dark, twisted way, like the way he would blow people off. Or like, there's one guy, he's like, just go stand over there
Yeah.
forever, and they
Just
like
jump off a building.
yeah, or like, and so there's a scene where he tells the guy's bothering him. He's like, just go stand over there forever. And then he leaves. And then like later in the episode, they're standing outside that place again. And you see the guy is still standing there and it looks like he has to pee and he's just going crazy. Like, it's so good. I just don't know what you do past him.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm really excited for season 2. And she's going to be in the Defenders because that's where they bring in all the characters from the Marvel shows into one show. And I know you're not really interested in watching that, but
no. But the
I'm-
second season, I am pumped for.
yeah, which comes out not till next year.
I
which
really
is-
hope I'm not disappointed because the first season was so
Yeah.
good.
The thing that made it good and the thing that I appealed to you was it's not a superhero show. It's like a mystery. It's like a private
It is,
investigator.
but it's so like watered down because it's
Yeah.
like because the story was.
And I'm
so
just
good.
worried after the Defenders that it might become more about the superpowers and the heroics and stuff, and I don't want that. Like Jessica Jones season 2, give me another mystery. Mm-hmm. Like give me another case that
Exactly.
spans the whole thing. I don't
Yeah.
want it to become we're gonna fight supervillains.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, give me another case. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's kind of stuff I like to watch.
Like let the Defenders be the Defenders. They can fight their supervillain there, but then when they all go back to their day jobs, like don't give me that.
yeah.
So that's what I hope for season 2. I really love that show. But what's your number 6?
It's gonna sound a bit ridiculous because when I first saw it on Netflix, I was like, I'm never gonna get into it. This is so high school.
And if I recall,
It's
wasn't.
actually a remake of an original.
It's a sequel because there are characters from the original that pop up and are
I
those
wouldn't say it's a
characters.
sequel.
Maybe not a direct sequel, but
No, I wouldn't say it's a sequel. I would say it's like a remake because they did episodes that were, I guess, remakes of the original. It's 90210. It's obviously a remake.
the remake of 90210.
Yeah, because they've done episodes that were mirrored from.
Yeah, I
the
definitely remember
original.
you starting this. It was like when we first got Netflix because we were really late to the Netflix train. It was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And you were just looking for something to watch, and you're like, yeah, you're probably not gonna like it, and you just threw it on, but
Yeah.
you didn't stop.
I was, yeah, because the first, even like now, like the first episode was so cliche.
Yeah.
They moved to a new area, a rich area.
First episodes of shows can always be
No,
really
but this
cliche.
one it was so beyond cliche. They moved to a new, an upper class area
Yeah.
in California, and they didn't fit in right away.
Yeah.
She was wearing clothes that weren't designer. It was very cliche, but the storylines were so like
I remember that
intense.
episode.
I was like, oh my god.
There's that episode where that girl Crystal, like, she recorded her and her boyfriend having sex, and she cut it into like a film for like an art thing, and she showed it, and he got really upset, and she like loses her mind. It's where they find out she's like
Tries to kill
bipolar
herself.
and depression.
Yeah.
It was really intense, and I thought that episode was really good.
Yeah.
And like I felt like holy shit, like I could
Yeah.
imagine going through that night, and like whatever the rest of the show is, I didn't watch a lot of it with you, but I saw that episode and that one hooked me, and I thought it was all really well done.
Then there was like the main, like I guess like the mean girl of the group or whatever. She accused one of the teachers of like rape or whatever. I can't remember why, but anyway, she did, and it wasn't true. And then like later on in the season, he actually does rape her.
Oh wow!
And-
Basically, like get back at her.
Yeah. But then, like, she was showing signs of distress, and it just was really, really ugly. And so she was depressed, and she wasn't going to school. And so one of her friends came over, and so they're hanging out. Anyway, he showed up, and he tried to do it again or something.
wow.
I can't remember it 'cause I haven't watched it in a long time, but it was so intense, and like he tried to kill her or something like that. I don't know. It's just, again, not what I expected from what it seemed like such a high school girl show.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I remember you being really surprised that you got so into it.
Yeah. I'm still surprised I got so into it.
Yeah.
It was really good. But Naomi would probably be my favorite character.
Oh yeah, I guess
we hate her.
We didn't do favorite characters for
No,
some of these shows.
No. It was,
Oh, I didn't. I'm gonna go back. It's Always Sunny. My favorite character is Charlie because Charlie Day is freaking hilarious. Batman is obviously Batman. Jessica Jones, I would say Kilgrave. He was the best. He's so good. Like he makes that show for me. That's why I'm kind of worried about season 2. I mean, she was great too, but yeah. So that's where I got. So now we're at number 5. My number 5, and this is a show I haven't watched in a while, and it's one of my. It's the only show on my list that was like canceled way before its time because it only went 2 seasons. But it's 2 of the funniest seasons of television I've ever seen, and the show is called Party Down.
Oh, I haven't heard you talk about this show in a
It's so
while.
I kind of forgot about it for a while, and then over the last week, it's kind of popped up a few times in conversation. It's so fucking funny, and like, so Adam Scott is the main character, and he's been in a lot of stuff. He was in Step Brothers, he was in Parks and Rec, and he's just like one of those actors I really like. He hasn't done like a ton of stuff, but the stuff he's done has always been really good. Mm-hmm. And basically, it's about a bunch of caterers that work for a catering company in Hollywood. And everybody on the catering team, they're like, yeah, this is my day job, but I'm going to be a famous writer, or I'm going to be an actor, or I'm going to be this or that. And Adam Scott, he was really famous for like a beer commercial where he had a catchphrase, and it's like one of those things like, oh man, can you say it? Can you say it? And he just like, he gets in his pose, just like, are we having fun yet? And like, that's what he was famous for. And he fucking hates it every time somebody asks him to say it. But it had Lizzie Kaplan, who you really like from True Blood.
Yeah.
And, she's great in everything that she's in.
I really like her.
And it had Jane Lynch in it.
Oh, I think I've seen a few minutes of that.
So she left that show to go do Glee, I'm pretty sure. Because here's the thing, like season 2, like she left, and I think somebody else left because they got different jobs. And then season 2, they replaced them. And it was really funny. Like the people they got were really great. And then after season 2, it was kind of up in the air and if they were going to get the season 3. But then Adam Scott got a job. Like basically everybody got job offers, and they were like, well, we have to take these job offers. And everybody just kind of went their own ways, and the show just never happened. And it's one of those things they've talked about doing a movie, like bringing everybody back for a movie.
That would be cool.
Yeah, which they've talked about so many times. Like Arrested Development was going to do a movie for years because that was another show that got canceled, and then they ended up doing they did the Netflix thing, and I hear there might be another one in the works. I haven't watched that 4th season on Netflix. I heard it wasn't super great. Like it was a lot of they couldn't get the actors there at the same time, so there's a lot of you can tell they're not in the same room at the same time, or they're like kind of superimposed into stuff. So I haven't watched it. I heard it wasn't. I do need to watch it. I heard it wasn't super great though. But Party Down is so fucking funny, and like Lizzie Kaplan and Adam Scott are amazing on that show, and they're kind of like the main love interest.
Great. I like
her. She's always like really fun. But like him too, like he's one of my favorite actors, and even all the side characters, like they're people you would recognize in a lot of things, and it was just so funny. It was an all-star cast and one of the funniest TV shows. Like every episode was just them catering a different party. My favorite one is the actor Steve Guttenberg, who was in the Police Academy movies. He had like a house party, but he's like, oh man, I totally forgot I asked you guys to come. Like they threw me a surprise party last night. He's like, you know what? Why don't everybody just invite a friend over and we'll just have a party at my house? And it's just them hanging out at Steve Guttenberg's house, and it's fucking so funny. But yeah, my number 5 is Party Down.
Favorite character?
I would say Lizzie Kaplan's character and Adam Scott, like them together, they're kind of like a pair, but they're always so good together on screen.
Nice. My number 5 would be Gilmore Girls,
which I've seen a lot of with you.
Again, what was the show? I think it was Breaking Bad. I said that I liked that. It was a smart show.
Yeah.
That was the main. I think it was one of the writers or a producer or someone. That was like one of their big things about this is they wanted to be a show where the viewer didn't feel like what's the word?
Left out?
Like kind of talked down to, I guess. Like
condescending.
Condescending, exactly. So because it's a smart show, one of the main girls, Rory, she's a very, very intelligent girl.
And it's a lot of fast talking and witty dialogue.
Yeah. she leaves her like average school to go to Chilton, which is a very prestigious high school, and then she goes on to Yale, and it's hilarious and sad, and I just love it so much.
I've seen a lot of Gilmore
Girls.
Girls.
It's a girl power show, but it's so good.
I've seen a lot. I know a lot of people who unabashedly love Gilmore Girls.
It's so funny, and I don't know. You just feel good when you watch it.
I
don't
really
explain it.
I really enjoy the show. Like, I've seen a lot of it with you just because we've watched it. There was a time, so you were very sick.
I had mono, yeah.
Yeah, you had mono, and we were watching it. You got a new season for Christmas or something. It was like the last season. And we threw a disc in the DVD player, and then we were sitting on the couch, and you fell asleep. And you were on my lap, so I couldn't get up or move. And the disc played through all the episodes, and then I had the controller. It's like, well, I guess I'll just hit play. And I just started the disc over and watched it just because I didn't want to get up and like disturb you.
Yeah.
But no, it's a really fun show from all the stuff I've seen.
It's a very feel-good show, too.
Yeah. I really like Lauren Graham in the show, and I really like Luke.
Because they're very pro-family. Even though the family's messed up, it's very pro-family.
Yeah.
And friends, like, your friends are your family's your family. It's so good.
Yeah. It's
And it's very much like the village raises the child type thing. Like, everyone is family.
Small town, everybody knows each other. There's a
Yes.
lot of that going on. There's a lot of like town meetings where that weird guy's always standing up.
Yeah.
No, it's more than just like a chick show.
Exactly.
I would say there's stuff there for a lot of people. It's funny, I listened to a podcast called How Did This Get Made, and one of the comedians on the show, Jason Mantzoukas, he is a huge Gilmore Girls fan, and he like brings it up all the time and defends it all the time on the show. He was actually in the Netflix
was he?
yeah, he got in.
Oh, the Netflix. That one was so good.
That it reviewed really well.
Oh my
and
gosh.
They're definitely
I hope
talking
they add
about doing more.
Yes, I hope they do. It was so well done.
They're talking about it. It's just
And
a matter of getting everyone.
I had high hopes for that. So I
A
was
lot of
hoping I
people
was going to
did.
be let down, but it's so good.
And it took over social media even. Like,
However, I do have to say I didn't like where they're going with Rory's character. They just made her some kind of hoe and on that, but Lorelai's my favorite character, so it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I hope they do
great.
more.
She's great.
Yeah, Lauren Graham, like, I don't love her in a lot of things, but I think she was.
Interesting. Sorry, you can finish.
Oh no, I just think she was really great in that show.
So I watched Parenthood, and she was on that show.
Yeah.
And her brother on the show is actually her current boyfriend.
Oh really?
And I hadn't watched Parenthood yet when I was watching the Netflix. Was it reboot or?
No, continuation.
Okay. Continuation of Gilmore Girls. And so I was like, oh, well, he looks like the guy I've seen, like, on this, with her or whatever on the new show. And I was like, that's so cool that she's bringing in someone from her current show onto this remake or whatever.
But she was bringing her boyfriend onto the show.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah. In retrospect, I was like, okay, well, it kind of makes sense now. But that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, it just shows the kind of person she is, even like outside the show. But on the show, she's really cool. Off the show, she's really cool.
Yeah. Gilmore Girls is something we're definitely probably going to do a future episode on just because we've talked about it before. Because as much Gilmore Girls as I've seen, I don't really know what that show's about.
I don't even know why it's as far down on this list as it is, because that's like a part of my life.
It is.
Love that show.
It is. It's really fun, and I would recommend if anybody's like, "Oh, I'm not watching that chick show," like check it out. Just,
like during my, like every time I always like reference my favorite show, and then I always think of like a Gilmore Girls episode too, because that's really cool.
There's a lot of similarities there. So that was number 5, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
All right, so number 4 for me, which we've already talked about, so we don't have to say a lot here, is Breaking Bad. It's just so good. I love Jesse. Jesse's my favorite character.
I really enjoy watching that with you too.
Yeah,
it was a fun show to watch together.
Yeah, which we haven't watched a show together in a while. Like, you've kind of just been.
It's hard to find shows that
we both like. Yeah,
and of course it's always hard to find time to watch them.
Yeah, and for us, when we do end up watching a show together, it's usually something dark and fucked up.
I'm very picky on shows that I watch.
Like, I keep recommending
However, we
Bloodline.
do like sitcoms though.
Yeah, sitcom, because
and those are easy to watch too, because they're only 20 minutes sometimes. You can watch those really quick. But
yeah, because like when I'm trying to think of shows for both of us, I'm like, oh well, I know she likes this, so we can probably find some common ground here. Like, I've been suggesting Bloodline just because I hear that's good, and that seems like one of those dark, fucked up shows right up our alley.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there's another one that Ryan's always telling me about. Fuck, what is the name of that show? I watched the first episode and it was great. I'm gonna have to get the name of that show later. But Banshee. That's what it is. It's I don't even really know what it's about. Basically, it's like a guy.
Is it a Netflix show?
No, I don't know. I don't think it's on Netflix. I'll have to get it. But it's like a guy gets out of jail and he goes to this town and he's looking for this girl, and it's implied that they did like a robbery together and he got caught and she got away, and she's kind of started a new life in this town. And he comes in, and through a series of circumstances, the new sheriff who like just came into town gets killed in like a bar fight. And so he hides the body and takes over the guy's identity as the sheriff. So he's like posing as the sheriff in this town.
What?
It's
It
super
sounds
the
good.
first episode, like Ryan was telling me, he said it was one of his favorite TV shows. He kept telling me to watch it, and I'm like, whatever, it sounds stupid. And then I watched the first episode and was like, holy fuck.
Oh, you've already seen it?
I've seen the first episode. That's it.
It was good?
It's basically what I just explained.
Oh, okay.
And it's really fucking good. Like all the actors are really good. And I didn't realize it was on what I don't know if it's like an HBO show. I think it's like Stars or something. But I didn't realize it was a show where they could have nudity and swear. Because like out of nowhere, it just got super violent, and then there was like some nudity and stuff. I was like, oh, I didn't know it was one of these kind of shows. But it's really good. I'm gonna have to get that, and we're gonna have to watch it.
Nice.
But yeah, so Breaking Bad's my number 4.
My number 4 is a show, again, I heard about, but I just thought it was gonna be so dumb. And it just blew my mind. It was so good. And so, again, so smart. So good. Anyway, it's Revenge.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I know. And it's like, a lot of people think, oh, that's such a teen, like, show. And it's going to be so stupid.
Like teen soap opera.
It is so good.
Yeah, this is one you've been trying to get me to watch.
I even recommended it to my dad. This
I think your dad
show
would like it.
So good.
Yeah, I've watched how many? Like 4 or 5? Maybe even like 7 episodes.
Written, well acted.
Yeah.
These people can act. It's so good.
It's really good from what I've seen. It's got a mystery that compels you forward. Like, you know some bad shit happened, and you're kind of learning a little more in each episode.
Yeah.
And you know that she's there to get revenge on these people, and just seeing it unfold is actually really entertaining.
Yeah, and her best friend's like a tech nerd guy.
Oh, he's such a great character.
He's great. He's probably my favorite character. Every time Nolan's on the screen, I'm just like, yes.
Yeah,
because he's hilarious. He's smart. Oh my gosh.
When we started watching the show, he was like my favorite character right out of the gate.
And they're all like rich, so obviously like I don't know. That's kind of like a world we don't really know about.
To the show.
So yeah.
And the show plays on that a lot. It's like, how these rich people are all kind of incestuous, and
actually, no, I think Victoria might be my favorite character.
That's the wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's like a bunch of different mysteries within like the main mystery, and it is so good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I really like Revenge. I need to get back to watching more of it.
I need to own that show.
We will.
Because when it doesn't end up on Netflix anymore,
yeah,
I'll be very sad.
Yeah, we will definitely.
So good. The evilness in that show.
It's like from what I haven't seen much, but it's
so good.
Victoria in particular is very ruthless.
Well, so is Emily. Oh my gosh! And you put them both together, and it's just like, damn.
Yeah, and yeah, I really like all the actors in the show.
Yeah.
Well, my number 3, it's a little show. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Game of Thrones.
Yeah. It's a huge show.
Yes, one of the biggest, and it comes back in July, and I can't fucking wait.
You talk about this show all the time.
We watched the first 2 seasons, and then we got to episode 3 of season 3, which is where they cut off Jaime Lannister's hand.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember who he is, because it's been a long time since you watched it.
Yeah, I need to get back to that.
He's the prince that was fucking his sister, who was.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just like, when we were first watching it, I was struggling. It's like how everybody jokes around like, oh, it's that show that you don't know anybody's names.
Exactly.
And
There's
everything.
so many characters. Like I don't remember
so
where
I went through an experience where we put it on at work, and we started from where I left off. And as we were watching it, I was able to ask questions to people who know way more about the show than I do. So I got to learn a lot about the show as I was watching it. And then we marathoned seasons 3, 4, 5, and I guess 6. At work, and it was incredible. Each season just gets better and better.
I know you keep making me want to watch it again.
Season 6 is so fucking intense and so good. Oh my god, there's an episode, I keep thinking about this moment. I really want to go back and watch this episode. Do you remember what the White Walkers are? They're like the zombie white creatures. I think we only got a glimpse of them from what we watched.
Yeah.
So basically, as everybody's fucking fighting for the throne, this whole army of undead monsters called White Walkers is marching from the north, and they're going to come and kill everybody. And the whole thing is when people die, the White Walkers bring them back to life, and they join their army as zombies. So there's a scene where like there's this group of people beyond the wall called wildlings, and they're basically people who just live in that territory, and they're trying to get south because they know what's happening. And Jon Snow, you remember him?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
one of the main characters. He goes there to like, hey, you need to come fight with us because we need your help and blah, blah, blah. And as this is going on, this army of White Walkers just descends on this camp. And it's just this huge battle. So many people are dying. And like these like handful of people escape with their lives. And the leader of the White Walkers is just standing on this dock watching them leave. And all these dead bodies are on the ground. And he just like raises his arms and all of the bodies get up. And you're just like, holy fuck, how are anybody going to fight these things? Because every
God.
dead body just adds a new soldier to their army. And it's such a powerful fucking scene of hopelessness.
Oh my God.
Like, this is what's coming, and everybody's worrying about a stupid fucking chair. Like, it's so insane. And so, like, that moment gives me chills every time we fucking watch
That's
it. Just
crazy.
just watching him fucking lift his arms and all these bodies stand up. Oh my God, it's
that's
so
crazy.
good. You really need to get back into the show with me. But
Sounds like it.
And then just like, all the typical politics bullshit that's going on. And Tyrion the dwarf is the best character
He's
in the
great.
show.
He's great.
And when him and Khaleesi finally meet for the first time, it's one of the best moments.
Khaleesi is awesome. I really like her.
Yeah, I mean, he's like with her now on like he's joined her.
Oh, okay.
And his path to get there is insane. And it's so great.
So your favorite character?
Tyrion by
Tyrion.
far.
He's great.
I would just watch a whole episode of him just talking to people.
Yeah.
And just the shit he's gone through on the show and he's acting circles around half the cast. The show is filled with amazing actors, and he's still somehow the standout one.
Yeah, he's awesome.
It's so good. But yeah, Game of Thrones, little show. You might have heard of it.
A little show. Again, mine too. It's a little show. It's Law and Order SVU.
Yeah, a little 20-year long show.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time,
think-
and I've seen almost all the episodes except for the current ones.
Yeah, which was it like season 19?
Something like that.
Yeah, I
I'm
love
just
that
waiting
show.
for it to be over so I can marathon it. The last episode I saw was so good. Oh my gosh! I don't know if anyone's ever seen the Everyone Loves Raymond.
Yeah,
the brother.
People have seen that show.
The brother on that show.
Yeah,
He was on SVU, and
as like a bad guy.
yeah.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
That would be great. I
He
didn't
was
see this.
amazing. He was so creepy and
Oh my god, we should watch this episode because that
Oh
would be
my-
awesome. I love SVU.
He ends up shooting one of the cops.
Wow. I mean, I always joke that I watch that show for Ice-T, which he's definitely my favorite character on the show. But it's so good. And
It
like
kills when they get rid of Elliot because I really, really like
yeah,
Elliot.
but I mean, there was all the behind the scenes stuff
Yeah,
with that.
yeah.
It
But then when they
sucks.
got rid of him, they get brought in like new people like Amanda, which we both
Yeah.
like. Yeah.
So like I didn't see you started watching it kind of where it was, and then you went back, right?
Yeah. I
'Cause
saw
I
it,
saw-
I fell in love with it, and then I was like, okay, I need to start from the beginning.
I've seen less episodes with Elliot than I have any other episode. Like I've only seen a handful of his episodes. So for me, I've never missed him because I didn't start from the beginning.
I like still miss him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still crazy to me that you've seen all like 18 seasons
Oh
of
my
that show.
gosh. And I'm like, and that's the type of show that like at any given time I can be like, okay, I want to watch the show.
And like I always hear people like
So
Law and
good.
Order is clearly a very popular franchise. But I always hear people like, oh no, SVU is too depressing.
No.
But I'm like, I love SVU.
It's awesome.
And maybe I've never really
it's probably 'cause
watched.
I'm messed up in the head, but I love
I mean, we
that
really
show.
like dark crime stuff. And I mean, I'm not trying to say this in a demeaning way, but you as a woman, maybe you're more interested in kind of like the sexual assaults because the SVU is more about like
No,
sexual
I'm
cases.
actually more into it because of the law stuff.
But is there that much law stuff in there?
There's
I mean,
enough.
aside from like police procedure.
And there's enough. I don't know. I'm always like, okay, are they gonna win?
Have you ever
Are they
watched a
not gonna
courtroom
win?
drama? The closest I can think of is Suits, But as much as you like courtroom stuff, I wonder if there's a courtroom show that
but that's
you
the
would
thing.
like.
I like it, but I don't want it to only be that.
Yeah,
because I
guess
do
that's
like
true.
the crime aspect of it.
Yeah, because
I
like,
am dark and twisted inside.
it's one of those shows that they call a police procedural because it's all about how do they step by step go through the case.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Like,
I've tried watching.
I like their personal stories too.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of great characters. I've personally never watched the original
Like
Law and
Olivia,
Order.
she's a rape survivor.
Yeah.
No, she's a baby of a rape.
Yeah, which I didn't know for a really long time.
that I was like, oh, gosh, when I watched the first season, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, that's another great reason for me to like. That's amazing.
And then what was his name? Munch.
Yeah,
Munch. I liked him.
I didn't really care for him.
I liked him. I don't know why.
He comes. I swear he makes like one appearance like every single season. He just pops
Yeah,
in
he
there.
seems to just kind of
like he kind of watches. I was gonna say Mariska. He like watches Olivia's baby.
I love saying her name though, Mariska Hargitay.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
He like comes in. He's like a babysitter randomly. He'll like, do like one appearance like every season.
Yeah,
it's great. But there was another like storyline that is just mind-blowingly good. Like, and I think they did win awards. Some guy
I'm
had
sure
her, like,
SVU has won so many awards.
He had her hostage in her own apartment.
Olivia?
Yeah.
I think I saw that one with you.
Oh gosh.
There was one I saw, I think it was in the most recent season where what happened? Some guy's holding a family hostage in their home and Olivia goes there. Maybe it's like a friend of hers. And Olivia goes there and kind of gets pulled in as a hostage as well. And everybody's like, hey, why isn't she coming to work today yet? And then they end up kind of figuring out what happens.
Yeah.
That was a really fun episode.
Yeah. And she's a great actress.
Yeah. And I like that they don't always win. Like sometimes you see a killer walk away or like a rapist walk away.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that like law aspect of it. Because you really get close with the DAs.
Yeah. Like
and,
it's always funny to me
judges.
like, oh, this DA, he's back from this episode.
Well, no, some of these judges are dirty. They get caught. One of the judges got caught in a kiddie porn
really
situation. Yeah.
Oh, man. I should just start. Because you have the first couple seasons on DVD.
Oh yeah, I will own this entire show.
Yeah, yeah, we're definitely gonna get that.
Yeah,
I wasn't buying them because like I thought there was at one point you said it was a show you didn't want to own, and then somehow apparently that was crazy because I said that to you and you're like, what? No,
crazy talk. Yeah, my favorite.
Otherwise, we probably would have had them all by now because I would have just bought them for you randomly.
They're kind of expensive. Well,
no, they're old. They're probably like $10-15.
No, like the newer ones.
Like 25-30 maybe.
I don't know.
But like so we'd be starting from the old ones and get them like $15. And there's no Blu-ray, so they're all DVD, so they're cheaper.
There's no Blu-rays?
No, I'm surprised.
That's weird.
I mean, it makes sense for there not to be like older Blu-rays.
I would think there'd be Blu-rays just because of all like the evidence and stuff would actually.
And just because Law and Order is such a popular show.
And just because of the like stories of them.
Yeah.
I think there would be Blu-ray because
I'm honestly surprised there's not. A lot of those shows that you watch, like I tried looking for them. So I think Revenge also only has like the last season in Blu-ray. I think the rest are all only DVD.
That's weird.
Well, I mean, because like they started before Blu-ray was a thing, and then they have to go back and redo them. And some shows do, some shows don't.
Yeah.
It depends on the show.
It's interesting because even like the lab tech people, they they even get in with some of these because the one guy he kind of had his own storyline.
Yeah,
he got fired and all that.
I've tried watching other crime shows like Criminal Minds and stuff like that, and I just don't get into it.
I think it was Criminal Minds.
Criminal Minds is on Netflix.
I just felt like I was like doing SVU wrong by watching that show. I was like, no.
What's that show? Like SVU, I don't get into at all. Or not SVU. What am I thinking of? The crime lab show that your dad likes.
Oh,
really
as a CSI.
CSI. I don't get into CSI at all.
Oh yeah, he loves that.
Yeah. Although I do want to check out one of the NCIS shows just because it's got Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm talking about.
He watches both.
Oh, okay.
But no, CSI was what I was thinking of.
Okay.
I don't get into that show at all. But yeah, NCIS, I think Vegas has Cuba Gooding Jr. and Chris O'Donnell, and I really like them, so I kind of want to check that out.
Yeah.
But
I think I like the court aspect of it because I grew up. My parents watched the Law and Order, like the original.
Have you ever watched the original?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Do you like the original, or is it only SVU?
Well, I grew up with my parents watching it.
Yeah, see, I've never seen the original.
Yeah.
To me, it was like that boring show my grandma would watch.
It was kind of boring until I started understanding what was going on. I was like, that's really interesting. Okay.
But SVU is just the one you latched onto.
Well, because it has the crime and the like. Not that the regular one doesn't, but this one, I don't know.
Do you think the nature of the crimes is more interesting to you?
Yeah.
And the cast, obviously.
Because it's so taboo.
Yeah.
You put kids, you put women, and like.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, like we were talking about Ice-T, Mariska Hargitay. It has a cast we really like. The girl,
Especially
Amanda.
when the crime goes into their personal life.
Yeah.
Like when her kid goes missing.
Yeah.
That gets like.
And I like when they those shows cross over. Like that's always
yeah,
fun.
because Chicago PD or something like that.
No, I mean like Law and Order and like SVU. Like sometimes you'll see a character from Law and Order come on SVU.
That's what I'm saying. That Chicago PD show or whatever.
Yeah.
Their team went
on Chicago
they were working
Fire.
Together.
Oh, on Law and Order?
Yeah, it was like a Chicago Chicago case.
Oh,
they were
nice.
like kind of like
I think I
intertwined.
remember that.
They were like escaping to New York, so
Oh,
they
nice.
were working together.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so Mariska or Olivia, gosh, Olivia and I can't remember her name, but she was on one of those like
Amanda?
no.
Oh, from Chicago PD.
Yeah, she's on one
Yeah,
of
I
those
don't know any of the
popular,
characters
like,
on
girly
those.
shows. They become like close friends.
I do like that, like Chicago PD and Chicago Fire, and I think there's another Chicago
Fire is actually a good show.
Well, they do crossovers. Like every year they do, because I think there's a third one, like Chicago Law or something. It's like a lawyer show.
Oh.
They do like one year they have all 3 shows like together,
Oh, okay.
and they do crossovers with Chicago Fire and all that stuff all the time.
Chicago Fire is really interesting because when they talk about like it's a good show. I
Yeah.
like the like storyline and everything, but it's
I've
really
never
cool
seen any of
because
them.
I've been to so many of those places. Like I know what they're talking
So
about.
I saw a clip of Chicago PD because Colt Cabana, the wrestler that comes to our store all the time, he was on it like recently. He did like a little scene.
He was on
there.
the show?
Yeah, he he was
cool.
basically like a guy they pulled in for questioning, and he was like playing like a gruff.
That
like,
is so cool.
Yeah, we watched
I
the
would
scene at
die
work.
to be an SVU.
We watched the scene at work, and it was really fun.
That's cool.
And it's funny because he's like this nice, lighthearted, super nice guy, and he's playing this dude who might be a child molester, and is like in a room laughing at some guy. Oh, he deserves him right. He got his ass kicked and stuff. And like when you look at Colt, he's definitely has the look of like a guy who works on the docks. If you put him in like a big coat, but just
Yeah.
knowing him, it was so out of character and weird.
Nice.
But I've never seen the show, but I kind of want to check it out.
Lady Gaga's ex-fiance is one of the characters
Oh,
on the show,
really?
and he's very attractive.
I don't know who that is. All right, so is that all you got for Law and Order? I know we kind of went a while on that one.
Yeah, I would say my favorite character is Olivia. But,
Olivia, Ice-T, all the way.
But I really, not that he's a favorite character of mine, but I really miss Elliot.
Yeah, I like I said, I missed his time on the show, but I have seen episodes, and I really like the episodes that he was on.
I really, really miss him.
When the episodes where he would like defend her and stuff, like from people, it was always really great. And I know it was a big deal when he went on to True Blood, and I didn't know much about him as an actor,
Yeah.
and he was actually really good on True Blood too. That was kind of my first introduction to him as an actor.
I'm not really a huge fan. I'm not really a fan at all of that Nick character that she had as her partner after Elliot left.
I liked him for a while. Like
I'm
I grew
into it.
attached to him. Like when he left, I was bummed. Is the way I would put it.
But I was like such a fan. Like I was so proud of her becoming the captain. Like when she
Yeah.
graduated, I was like, "You go, girl!"
I
Like,
missed the captain.
been
He
with
was
you
great.
The whole time. But it was so good.
All right, but let's move on to number 2. My number 2 is Scrubs,
Of course.
which I would say is like the first show that I like marathoned and fell in love with and bought every season because I'd always heard of the show. I saw commercials for it on Comedy Central and stuff all the time. And the first time I saw it was at my dad's house. We were over there for dinner, and my stepmom had it on in the background. And I'm like, what is this show? It's really funny. And she's like, oh, that's Scrubs. I was like, really? This is Scrubs? So I went home, and I ended up downloading. At the time, they were on their 6th season. I think they ended with 9. And I marathoned the first 6 seasons. And I love that show so much. I haven't watched it in a long time, but like it is dumb. It is cheesy at times. But the show is also really smart. And I see you making faces at me over there. My favorite episode, because Dr. Cox, by far my favorite character. And I love him and his wife, Jordan, and the relationship they have. But they did a 2-part episode where, because his thing is he's always cocky. He's always the one who's in charge and everybody else is stupid. And there's an episode where it's like a buddy of his is in the hospital and, you know, he needs I think a liver transplant or something. And there's like a recurring character on the show who she was an actress on Mad TV, and she always came in at random times, and she was kind of like, everybody was super annoyed by her, but then it turns out she just like had really bad depression, so everybody kind of felt bad. And she kind of popped up here and there, and she pops up in an episode and she dies. And so they use her organs to go to like 5 different people because she was an organ donor, and one of them is his buddy. Turns out she died of rabies, and they didn't know. So now all of these people got rabies, and all of them die, including his friend. And the episode ends with his buddy like flatlining, and it's to that Frey song, "How to Save a Life," and they're trying to bring him back, and they don't. And it's just such a powerful episode, and he just, walks out and basically goes into like a drunken stupor. And the next episode is kind of like he shows up to work drunk, and it's just like, dude, like it's him spiraling out of control because of the guilt that he has, that it happened on because of him. And it's about them trying to bring him back, which they eventually do. And it's like, I'm about to fucking cry talking about it. It's such a powerful and good episode for like a comedy show. It's amazing. It's my favorite 2 episodes of that show. And it's so funny. And
I wish I got into that show.
I just think you haven't seen the right episodes.
No, I've seen so many episodes. I just don't get into it.
I really like all the characters. It did get annoying as it went on that they made the main character of the show just more and more girly and kind of a joke as it went on. And that's something How I Met Your Mother was a show I really liked. They were just as guilty of. Where basically as the show went on, they just made their main character more and more of a loser. And it's like, why would I care about this guy? And I understand you got to knock someone down before you bring him back up. But it's like 3 seasons in a row of him just being like the biggest loser on the show. And I'm like, why are they doing this? And Scrubs, they didn't make him a loser, but they just made him so much of a sissy as it went on. That like when he would stand up and be a man, it was almost out of character. And that always kind of got annoying.
My number 2 is Gossip Girl. I'm obsessed with that show. I know it's kind of a joke, but so good.
I heard people talking about this show at work the other day.
So good.
Maggie liked this show, and she liked it because she's like, yeah, it wasn't like a great show, but I like Blake Lively. Like,
oh, Blair, because she's such a psycho.
Yeah, what's the actress's name? Can you remember?
Leighton Meester.
Yeah, Leighton Meester. She's really good.
Oh my gosh, the show's so
it's a
good.
fun show. Like, I really like Dan Humphrey.
He's so boring.
I like him. I like his dad is more what it is.
He's so boring too.
His dad is so good. Rufus. Oh, and I love his name. I love Rufus as a name. No, Gossip Girl is...
It's sexy and it's funny and it's depressing and...
Like Chuck is a fun character because he's such an asshole. What's his name? Nate is like the most boring character on the show.
He's boring too.
He's just like, I'm the perfect boy with like the family
Daddy
with problems.
Issues.
Yeah. And he never really has an interesting storyline. Like, I feel like I haven't seen as much of the show as you have, but I feel like every time he's got a storyline, it always just feels crammed in. Like there's one I think it's season 3.
Yeah, like I don't really know why he was even on the show. He was just like just kind of thrown in there.
He was there to be a roadblock in the first season for what's her name? Serena.
Oh, okay.
Because like they had the whole thing of they slept together.
Yeah.
And like after that, he literally has no major storyline.
Well, yeah, no, I don't know. He had some good storylines.
Well, again, I haven't seen as much of the show as you have, but I just feel like every time I check into that show with you, it's like, oh, everybody's got some serious shit going on, and Nate's just over here sleeping with some girl.
Yeah, that's true.
Like he's sleeping with some older woman and he's having the time of his life, and like, oh, there's some minor problems there.
That's Chuck too, though. So
yeah, well, but Chuck's like he's manipulating people and making jokes about wearing too much
purple.
purple.
He's supposed to be with Blair, but he's not with Blair. And
yeah, and I like the whole like they're the two that are kind of dicks to everybody and they end up together. And
yeah, because they're both crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they kind of like bring their crazy together to like solve mysteries and
then it's like, who is Gossip Girl? We don't know.
Well, I mean, I know.
Yeah, I know too. And one of my favorite things about that show is a buddy of mine posted on Twitter like, it was this person the whole time, and I was like, hey, I get that reference. And like me and 2 of my buddies, we all bonded on like having our girlfriends forcing us to watch this show and us knowing it. Oh, it was so funny. But no, Gossip Girl, totally solid.
Great show.
One of us is making our microphones go crazy. All right, now we're good. Okay, so that was your number 1 or number 2?
2.
Okay, so my number 1, my all-time favorite television show is Californication.
Great show.
David Duchovny is amazing. The characters are amazing. It is so funny and so they handle the humor as best as you possibly could. The
humor is amazing.
They handle the drama as best as you possibly could. Like you could argue that the show kind of walks in circles where it's like, oh, it's just him fucking his life up over and over again. But it's so much fucking fun to watch him do it. And Dave Duchovny, he was super involved. I listened to a podcast recently. He was super involved with like the creation of that show. Mm-hmm. Where like, because he didn't want to do it if it wasn't going to be interesting.
Yeah, we're both listening to that.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Mm-hmm. Well, the listeners might not have been listening to it. We're talking to them. But no, he's so great. Every character on that show is amazing, and every season is just so different. And like season 4 is my favorite, which is the one where they're making the movie of the book of him not raping, but
fucking and punching.
Yeah, fucking and punching the movie. And that's where they introduced Rob Lowe for the first time, who becomes the greatest guest star on that show, who he should have won a fucking Emmy as, what was this fucking character's name? Eddie Nero. Like every time he appears on the show, he's running and tackling him like from off screen. And just the scene in his first season 4, when he's describing about blowing a guy to get in part for a movie, like to get in character, he's like, I took a man in my mouth once. And he's like imitating it. I've never laughed so fucking hard on that show. Like Rob Lowe was clearly having the most fun he's ever had. And it's just so funny. It's funny. It's sexy. They do the dramatic stuff so well. I just can't think of a show I love more. And it was one of the shows that we would watch together. Like I would watch the episode, but then I would have it ready for me and you to sit down and watch it together. Mm-hmm. And I think the only other show we did that with was True Blood, and then we stopped watching that because it was terrible.
Yeah.
But Californication is just amazing.
It's great.
All right, so what is your number 1?
Friends, always and forever.
Friends?
They are my friends.
Who's your favorite character? I know your favorite character. Chandler's also my favorite character.
Chandler is you.
I will not argue with that.
I mean, except he's funny, so.
Hey. I wish I could be funny. But at the same time, everyone hates that he's trying to be funny, and that's where I come in.
Yeah.
But no, I don't understand when people say they don't like Friends. I hear it all the time.
I don't either. I swear they're just trying to jump on that bandwagon.
I think so too.
Because the show is for everyone.
Like, if you're going to say you don't like sitcoms, that's fine. That's totally different.
Exactly. But this show is amazing. Literally everything that's going on in your life, there's an episode for that.
Yeah. And every character is really funny. Every character has a shining moment on that show. Like, even the characters I like the least. Like, I don't know. Phoebe, yeah. But like her and Chandler have really funny moments in the earlier seasons. Yeah. See, I love Joey. Joey has like one of my favorite storylines in the show is when Joey starts dating Chandler's girlfriend that was the actress. Okay. I think it's only like 2 episodes, and that's the one where Monica's showing Chandler the spots on a woman that like, and she's like reading the numbers, like start with a 1, a 1, 2, 3.
And she ends up like turning herself on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rachel, I mean, Jennifer Aniston, obviously she's a major character on the show, makes the show, but I love the episodes where she's just kind of like the background character and just has like really funny moments.
Mm-hmm. I can relate to Monica so much.
You're such a neat freak.
I'm so neurotic. No, it's not even just that. It's just I'm so neurotic.
Yeah. One of my favorite jokes in that show, it's the one that, like, when I think of Friends, is the joke that pops in my head the most, is after they get married and they're going through the bowl. He's like, hey, let's just put it in the closet. And he's like, I'm a man, I can handle it. And he walks over and the door's locked. He's like, the door's locked, I need your help. Like, immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I just love that show. And I like the proposal with Monica and Chandler.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
There's literally an episode / storyline of everything that's going on in like your life. I swear.
Yeah. And I don't think there's a show we've just thrown on TV more.
When there's nothing on YouTube or nothing on Netflix, because we don't have TV, that it's Friends. Always.
Yeah. You could literally throw on any episode from any season.
Yeah, except the first season, like, kind of steered that one.
There is one episode of that show I would say I hate, and it's because we've seen it so many times. And it's the fucking Holiday Armadillo episode.
Oh my gosh.
For one, I hate Ben. Ross's son.
I'm not a fan of like, and this goes for like almost every TV show. I don't like holiday episodes.
See, I always do.
See,
I really like how
I
love the Thanksgiving episodes in Friends. Those are some of my favorite episodes. The one with Brad Pitt is amazing.
Was funny, yeah.
And for one, Brad Pitt's an amazing actor, but I just love the idea of him having to be fat when he was younger and trying to resist all the food and stuff. And him making fun of Rachel just because he like can't stand her. I always like, I don't know why, I always like holiday episodes and TV shows, mostly for like Halloween because they usually do something really creative.
So cliche.
They are, but I think I love the Thanksgiving episodes, the Christmas episodes I can kind of give or take. But
like
that
all shows or just that show?
All shows. Well, in that show in particular, the Christmas episodes, like none of them.
I don't get down with the football.
I love the Thanksgiving. And for me, I love it because of Chandler, because of like, oh, Chandler doesn't like Thanksgiving again.
I do like my favorite episodes are probably when Chandler and Monica are sneaking around before they come out with their relationship.
That is my favorite part of the show by far.
So funny because I think the moment that like sticks out in my head, other than like what goes with my diamond ring, my diamond shoes, is when Joey's like, you know, like I'm Joey, I'm disgusting.
When he's trying to, when they keep finding like Chandler's underwear or whatever, and he has to take credit for it basically.
He's the only one that knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when they're in the tub and Joey opens the door and she ducks under the water.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, Joey wanted chicken. She's like, chicken? I could go for some chicken.
And then he's like, Coke. And he's like, ow, ow, ow. Diet Coke.
Yeah. She's pinching him under the water. Them, like, basically Ross's wedding, was it Emily?
Yeah.
To Emily?
God, Emily.
Up until the point where everybody finds out about, because that's where it starts with them two, was at his wedding, right? Because they hook up in England, England or whatever. Or London, that's what it is. From that point up until the point where everybody finds out about them is my favorite part of the show. I love them sneaking around. And I love when they move in together too.
I love when they're sneaking around, and then I love like their wedding. Like I love like the episodes of their wedding.
Honestly,
especially because they don't like
the way that show is like it's all about Ross and Rachel. To me, the characters I cared the most about were Monica and Chandler.
I love anything with Chandler.
Yeah.
Like when he's at like going through the interview and he said duties and he starts cracking up.
And he tells the guy, "Oh, good thing he didn't say it."
Chandler, I wish he was like my friend.
Yeah.
I love Chandler.
He's looking pretty rough nowadays. Have you seen the pictures of him?
Is, the other one, Joey. He's looking pretty rough.
Is he?
Too.
But he had another successful TV show called like Issues or something.
Well,
or
he
episodes.
might be successful. I'm just saying he just looks rough.
Yeah. Well, he went gray really quick because I guess he was dyeing his hair the whole time, and that hair dye, his hair is like completely gray now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was never a naturally black-haired person.
Yeah, Matthew Perry has some kind of drug issue.
Yeah, it was alcohol.
You can tell by watching the show. This fluctuation in weight is insane.
Towards the end of the show, he got like really chubby.
Well, no, he went like up and down just throughout the whole show.
Yeah. I think he had an alcohol issue. He was like a really bad alcoholic, and he had to go to AA.
Yeah.
Which relating to that,
he said there was like I think the first 3 episodes he doesn't remember anything.
Really?
Because he was just
so sad. I love Matthew Perry.
Me too. I really, really like.
He was in Chris Farley's last movie called Almost Heroes, and it's so great. And it's during the time where he's super scrawny. So him next to Chris Farley, who was at the end of his life and huge. For one, it's a hilarious movie, but it's made better with them two were like a great pair. And I think it was the last movie he made, but not the last movie to come out when he died. But I love that movie, and I love Matthew Perry, which we talked about when you talked about Fools Rush In, because he's in that.
I love him.
But yeah, Friends, it's one of the greatest shows. I don't believe anybody when they say they don't like it. It is the greatest show.
The greatest show.
The show we have watched more than anything, because we've been through the whole series multiple times.
Oh yeah.
And we will probably do it again multiple times in our lifetime. Yeah, but I guess that's our top 10 TV shows.
Yep.
Well, do you have anything else to say?
No, I'm good.
No.
No.
Why are you being like that?
Being like what?
Being all weird.
I'm not being weird.
You're being weird. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for sitting down and talking TV shows with me.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Did you enjoy it more than talking about movies?
Hell of a lot more, yes.
Yeah. We will definitely cover some more of these, I'm sure.
Okay.
But thank you for talking with me, and everybody, thanks for listening.